और अभी हम मिलने वाले हैं सुजाता दीन से, जो है हेल्थ कोच एंड कैंसर सपोर्ट कोच, जो हमें बताएंगे कि राइट ईटिंग होती क्या है। रिमेंबर, राइट ईटिंग से फर्क पड़ता है हमारी ब्यूटी, बॉडी, माइंड एंड सोल पर। तो चलिए मिलते हैं सुजाता से। So guys, here she is, सुजाता दिन, जो हमें बताएंगी कि राइट ईटिंग क्या है, क्योंकि वो खुद ही एक हेल्थ कोच है एंड कैंसर सपोर्ट कोच भी हैं। सो सुजाता, थैंक यू सो मच कि आप हमारी इस जर्नी में हमारा साथ दे रही हैं। एज यू नो कि 6 months की जर्नी है और उसमें वी वांट टू बी आवर बेस्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ ईटिंग, कि क्या खाना खाना चाहिए और क्या नहीं खाना चाहिए। तो आई थिंक स्टार्ट करते हैं पानी से, कि पानी कितना ज़रूरी होता है हमारे लिए, राइट?
थैंक यू सो मच हीना, आई एम सो एक्साइटेड। हम ये इकट्ठे करेंगे और यू विल सी अ ह्यूज ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इन जस्ट 6 months। पानी की ज़रूरत है। पानी क्यों हमें हर रोज़ पीना चाहिए? बिकॉज वी नीड इट फॉर आवर सेल्स इन द बॉडी, वी नीड इट फॉर आवर डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम, वी नीड इट फॉर आवर इम्यूनिटी, वी नीड इट ऑल्सो टू डिटॉक्स द बॉडी। If you are seeing this and thinking, I want to have good skin, we need water because it helps with the elasticity of the skin as well. So we need water every day, and it's really important, as Hina, you are beginning this journey, that you start the day with some water. I would recommend just keeping a glass of water or a bottle of water by your bedside. So when you wake up in the morning, that's one of the first things that you start your day with, is some water to rehydrate, because when we're sleeping, we're sweating, we haven't had any water. So we need to replenish that water in our body every day.
As you said कि start day with the water, कि दिन अपना पानी से शुरू करना चाहिए। तो what is the right amount, कि कितने अमाउंट से पानी शुरू करना चाहिए?
1 या 2 ग्लास पीने चाहिए। एंड यू कैन डिसाइड, आपको गर्म पानी पीना है तो गर्म पी सकते हैं, ठंडा पानी पीना है तो ठंडा पानी भी ठीक है। जे आपने पानी पीना है लेमन जूस के साथ, वो पी सकते हैं। एप्पल साइडर विनेगर के भी बहुत बेनिफिट्स है, वो भी आप ले सकते हैं। आप डिसाइड करें कि पानी में क्या डालना है। कोई लोग लहसुन डालते हैं, कोई लोग क्यूमिन पाउडर डालते हैं। आप जो प्लेन पानी भी पीना चाहिए वो भी अच्छा है। मेन चीज़ है कि आप पानी सुबह पी लेना।
नाउ यहाँ से मुझे याद आया, आई नो फ्यू फ्रेंड्स जो पानी नहीं पी सकते, मतलब नॉर्मल पानी नहीं, उन्हें टेस्ट चाहिए होता है, व्हिच आई अंडरस्टैंड। आप इसके बारे में क्या बोलेंगे?
पानी में जे आपने हर्ब्स डालने हैं, जे आपने पुदीना डालना है, जे आपने क्लोव्स या जो भी कुछ जिंजर स्लाइसेस डालने हैं, आप प्लीज़ वो डाल देना। पर आप पानी पीना, चाय मत पीना, कॉफ़ी मत पीना। मुझे मालूम है कि चाय और कॉफ़ी में भी पानी होता है, पर वो पानी कैफीन का होता है। और भी ड्रिंक्स है उसमें शुगर डालते हैं, वो भी हमारे लिए अच्छा नहीं होता। तो प्लेन पानी बेस्ट होता है। और आप जब हर्ब्स डालेंगे वो भी अच्छे होते हैं, क्योंकि वो हर्ब्स के बेनिफिट्स होते हैं। कोई हर्ब्स है उनके एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं, एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी। तो आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि आपको क्या प्रिफर करते हैं।
सो अकॉर्डिंग टू यू व्हाट इज द बेस्ट ऑप्शन?
मुझे पानी में जिंजर, फूड डाइजेशन के लिए जिंजर, और मैं मिंट भी डालती हूँ। रिफ्रेशिंग होता है, वो कूलिंग, बॉडी को काफ़ी कूल भी रखता है, स्पेशली समर मंथ्स में।
व्हाट इज द राइट अमाउंट? कि पानी ठीक है 2 ग्लास हमने स्टार्ट किया दिन से, 2 ग्लास वाटर से, लेकिन ड्यूरिंग द डे टोटल हमारा क्या टारगेट होना चाहिए कि कितना पानी पीना चाहिए? आई नो वुमेन आर डिफरेंट देन मेन, तो व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दैट?
आई वुड रिकमेंड कि एटलीस्ट 2 लीटर पानी के। और मैं जानती हूँ कि हिना आप बहुत एक्सरसाइज भी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, वॉकिंग भी होगी आपकी। मे बी 2 लीटर्स मिनिमम पीना चाहिए। मे बी जो एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं 2.5 लीटर्स भी ले सकते हैं। पर एक टाइम पर पानी सब नहीं लेना, प्लीज हैव थ्रू आउट द डे।
सो नाउ सुजाता, नेक्स्ट अभी बात करते हैं कि खाना जो हम सबका फेवरेट है।
और मेरे साथ मेरा छोटा है जैस्पर, वो भी हमें ये इंटरव्यू के लिए ज्वाइन कर रहा है।
Yeah, sure. As long he participates quietly, that's fine.
Yes. I'm going to put him in my lap, so then
that's
he
fine.
stops
That's fine. It's nice.
doing anything else.
Yeah, good. तो अभी बताइए हमें कि खाना कि what is the right खाना, what is the right food, right diet?
The right diet will be one that is lower in refined foods, sugar especially. Sugar is everywhere, especially in our desi diet. We start the day with sugar, we can even end the day with sugar. So one thing I would recommend is read the labels. I know you're living here in the UK, but of course, wherever we live, we still are having our traditional foods, and we're also having some Western foods as well. So read the labels, check what is inside the food that you're having, because even sauces, even bread, it has got some sugar in it. So it's not just the sugar you're adding into your tea or coffee or having as a cake or a dessert. It might be hidden in some of the other foods that you're having. So just always reading the labels is so important. So the nutritional panel will have per 100 grams how much sugar there is, how much fat there is. So read that and try and keep it to that mid-range.
What is the quantity आपके हिसाब से, if I check the labels, कि per 100 ग्राम में कितना फैट होना चाहिए और कितना शुगर होना चाहिए, so would be okay for me to have it?
यहाँ यूके में NHS recommendations देते हैं, and from memory, I think for saturated fats, if it's over 5 grams per 100, that is considered quite high in fat. And I'll share also with you the link to the website, so you can share with others who are watching this if they're interested. If it is sugar, it's 22.5% per 100 grams. So 22.5, I think it is, per 100 grams. That is considered quite high. Or it might be 17.5 if I'm getting my numbers muddled. But I would always try and keep it not, close to those numbers. Maybe like having foods that have about 10 to 15 grams of sugar per 100 grams.
Okay, that's great. Now, अभी sugar की बात हो रही है. So what is your take on कि white sugar जो refined sugar होती है उसको हम healthy कैसे बना सकते हैं? So how can we replace it with something else? कि because काफ़ी लोग हैं हम जैसे चाय पीने के बहुत ज़्यादा शौकीन हैं, अपने देसी people, या वैसे भी some people like sweets. तो slowly हम ये sugary habit को जो है थोड़ा सा healthy way में कैसे लेके जा सकते हैं? Of course आगे जाके our aim is to reduce the sugar intake, क्योंकि उससे काफ़ी हेल्थ का नुकसान होता है. तो ये रिफाइंड जो वाइट शुगर है उसका हम क्या करें?
जो रिफाइंड शुगर आप यूज कर रहे हैं, इंस्टेड ऑफ द रिफाइंड वाइट शुगर, ब्राउन शुगर ले लेना. Brown sugars, so many different ones. There's coconut sugar, there's muscovado, so many different varieties of brown sugar. Whichever one you want, you have at the supermarket, you can have that. If you're used to putting चाय में जो आप 2 चमचे डालते हैं, 2 मत डालना, put a little less. Maybe reduce by half a teaspoon or reduce by 1 teaspoon. But reduce slowly, because जब हम sugar stop करते हैं, withdrawal symptoms आ जाते हैं. कोई लोग वो headaches आते हैं, irritability हो जाती है. So to try and reduce these symptoms, just reduce the sugar slowly. Don't go from 2 teaspoons to 0 teaspoons. Either reduce by 10%, 20%, 30%, or even up to 50% if you are able to. But do it at a pace that works for you. And everybody is so different. So you will find what works for you and you do it accordingly.
So that means, okay, we can replace the white sugar with the brown sugar.
Yeah.
And jaggery is the same thing, right? Jaggery is also good?
Jaggery is also good. Good is also good. But again, with good, it is a healthy sugar. So we don't want to be having too much of it because it is still a sugar that we are having.
Yeah. So now, अभी जैसे आपने कहा कि which is a very good point कि जो sugar है एकदम से आप cut down नहीं करें. तो slowly, you mentioned 10%, 20%. तो what is the time frame कि 2 weeks, 3 weeks जहाँ पे हम कि 50% जो शुगर इनटेक है उसको रिड्यूस कर दें और उसके बाद slowly another whatever the time frame is to completely cut down on sugars. क्योंकि cut down तो कभी हो ही नहीं सकती क्योंकि as you mentioned हर खाने में शुगर होती है. So I'm asking for myself actually. I want to.
Hina, you're already so aware. You know a lot about food and healthy eating. Right. I would suggest in your case maybe every 2 weeks, reduce it by 20% and then reduce it by 20%. And then see, how you are in terms of the taste of the food. And we don't need to stop all sugars. Sugars, actually, we do need some types of sugars, but we don't need added sugars necessarily in the food, because we also have sugars in fruit, in dairy, in our grains. So those sugars are fine to be having, and the added sugars, we just have less of those.
खाने का क्या करें? So I love food. I think everyone who's watching, I think most of us, we love food, especially Indian cooking, or Desi Pakistani cooking or Sri Lankan, whatever that is. उसमें हम the way जिस तरह से हम खाना बनाते हैं has too much of salt and too much of tel and all those things. So how can we still eat them but stay healthy? Is there any possibility?
Definitely. So many things that we can do to improve the types of foods we are having. One of my biggest worries is, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing, is there is an increase in the risk of disease amongst the South Asian people, even here in the UK. The risk of diabetes and heart disease is so high. So what I would recommend is reduce things like ghee. We can definitely use ghee. Ghee is a healthy fat to be using, but try and reduce, again, just like sugar, reduce it by 10% or 20%. And you will find that it still tastes quite nice. The food tastes quite nice, but we are just adapting it a little by a little, because if we go from having a lot to having very little, it's a shock to the system. We won't like the taste. So what we want to do is slowly just reduce it. And instead of frying some foods, you can bake them. You can roast them as well. So maybe if you're having eggs, instead of fried eggs, could you do scrambled eggs or boiled eggs? Because eggs already have fat in them. Or chicken, right? They already have got fat in them. They're animal products. They already are quite high in fat and cholesterol as well. So rather than frying them, you could put the chicken in the oven. And you can also have a lot more vegetables in your diet. That is the key thing over here. Most of us will think protein. I'm not having enough protein, and we begin to think of all the protein foods we need to have. The key food I see missing amongst so many of my Desi clients is vegetables. Even the vegetarians are not having enough vegetables. We need to make that a really important thing.
Ghee is better than normal oil, tel?
Ghee is good. I like ghee, but I also like olive oil. Butter is good as well. Coconut oil is good. These are all traditional fats, oils that have been used for generations. All of them are good. All have different properties, and all can be used in different ways when we're cooking as well.
Do you think ghee is better or then olive oil is better? Which one would you recommend?
For people with diabetes, I would actually suggest having less of the oils. And I prefer olive oil versus the vegetable oils. I would recommend that. And what you want to do if you're either pre-diabetic or diabetic, please begin to work on reducing your weight. Because if you're at a higher BMI, you're at a higher risk of diabetes. So try and make changes, yes, to the oils, but also to the carbohydrates that you're eating, also to the grains that you're having as well. Try and increase the protein that you're having. Try and have more foods with fiber in them as well. So there's many different factors that come in to reduce the risk of disease. I wish it was one simple thing that did it, but it isn't difficult to do, but it's many little steps. As you are on your journey, you will see there's so many little steps that are coming together. Similarly, we need to have many different things, and I always explain it from my 3 pillars of well-being. One is the food, the second is the lifestyle, and the third is the mindset. And what we want to do is to bring all 3 together. And as we begin to work and improve on all 3 areas, we'll find that there are improvements in health markers, whether it's cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, or other conditions as well. Even things like arthritis. I've seen some of my clients who have a lot of pain, who struggle to walk. They're now able to walk because they have reduced inflammation in their body just by changing the food, their lifestyle, and thinking very differently.
Is there any measurement you should be putting tel ke, okay, it's for one person, put 1 tablespoon?
No, 1 tablespoon is too much for one person. Okay. I would say 1 tablespoon for 4 people when you're cooking.
In a curry?
In a
Indian
curry,
style.
yeah. And if the food is sticking to the pan, just put a little bit of water, it'll lift it off. You don't need much oil to stop it sticking.
तेल जो है 1 tablespoon is for 4 people. So for 2 people is like 1 teaspoon then in that case. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So now, so please carry on. So you were saying कि
Hundreds of years ago, everybody ate healthy because that was what the normal was. Right now, what's become normal is the processed foods, the junk foods. We have them for different reasons, because of food marketing, because of the convenience, and often just because it's become a habit. We're used to eating these foods and we want to continue eating more and more of these foods. So these are having an impact on our body. They might be increasing the inflammatory markers. For some people, they're putting them at a higher risk of certain types of diseases as well. So what we want to do is to try and reduce these. And I have seen so many clients just make a few changes and their life transforms. From not being able to walk for more than 10 minutes, being able to walk for 30 minutes or an hour. And they were on strong painkillers, not needing painkillers. So we have the ability to take charge of our health. And that's what you're doing here on your journey that you're doing over 6 months. And I encourage anybody watching this today, don't think you can't make a change. Just start, with little things like reduce the sugar, reduce the oils, eat more vegetables. In our traditional diet, we have great protein sources. Our dals are so good. We should be eating more dals for protein.
Any particular dal you would recommend?
The dals, I love all dals, and I think have a variety of different types of dals, whether it's, masoor or moong or tur dal. There's so many different types. We've got rajma, we've got chole. So try and rotate it, try and have a variety. Don't get bored of what you're having. And the dals, people will say, I shouldn't eat dal because they're high in carbs. I shouldn't eat carbs, but because dals have carbs in them, it's going to cause me weight gain. We shouldn't be afraid of having carbs. We do need carbohydrates for energy. But when we have the dals, yes, they're giving us our carbohydrates, they're giving us our protein, and they're giving us our fiber. So it's not that spike in blood sugar levels we're getting from other types of sugary foods or carbohydrate-based foods. So dals are really good, and actually it's part of our traditional diet as well. So we should be including, dals as a protein food when we're having them.
What do you think about when you cook them at home and freeze them for few weeks or months? Is it okay?
Yeah, a few weeks is fine to have the dals, and you can just put a label on it and you know when you've made the dal and when you're going to be having it as well. And all you then need to do is just put some rice in a pan to cook it. Or I just have a rice cooker. I find the rice cooker is really convenient. Just have a rice cooker and then the rice is, ready very quickly while you're doing things in the kitchen. You just remove the dal, put it to heat to defrost it, then just put it to heat and just cut a simple salad with it. The old-fashioned ways, of having a salad, the way my mom would cut it, nothing fancy, just some carrots, cut some mooli, some tomato, some kheera, just some simple vegetables, cut them, put them on a plate, have a simple meal. That's all we need. It's just a healthy, simple meal that tastes really good.
So now, Sujata, आप एक कैंसर सपोर्ट कोच भी हैं, राइट? अभी फ्रोजन फूड की बात हो रही है. इवन इफ यू कुक एट होम और उसको अगर आप फ्रीज कर देते हैं, तो डू यू थिंक काफी लोग कहते हैं कि जो फ्रोजन फूड है it can cause cancer as well? Do you think so?
I have not seen any research to show that frozen food is associated with increasing the risk of cancer, but what I have seen research is that our diet, depending on the types of foods we're having, can increase the risk of certain types of cancer. Being overweight also increases the risk of certain types of cancers. So what we need to do is just take charge of our health and make a few tweaks. But healthy frozen food is not a problem. Healthy frozen food, I encourage everybody to have so that it's convenient. Because, if we think, Hina, why are we eating processed foods? Why are we eating the quick, convenient junk foods? Because it's easy. Why not make healthy food convenient? Because when we make healthy food convenient, we can eat it. Canned beans as well, you can have those. It'll make life much easier.
Now, खाना का तेल का भी आपने बता दिया कि कितना तेल डालना चाहिए. लेकिन खाना कितना खाना चाहिए? अभी मैंने हेल्दी खाना तो बना लिया ना, उसकी जो क्वांटिटी है, इतना खाना चाहिए, इतना खाना चाहिए, इतना खाना चाहिए, क्योंकि अब तो हेल्दी खाना बन गया, जितना भी खाओ. इज दैट हाउ इट इज? ऐसा होना चाहिए या उसमें भी एक लिमिट होती है?
हेल्थी खाना भी पोर्शंस में खाना चाहिए, क्योंकि जे बहुत बड़े पोर्शंस हो गए फिर अनहेल्थी हो जाता है, राइट? तो आई वुड ऑलवेज एनकरेज कि जब आप प्लेट प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं लंच टाइम, डिनर टाइम, हमेशा देखना कि पहले प्लेट में वेजिटेबल्स डालो. हमारी आदत है कि पहले हम प्लेट में ग्रेन्स डालते हैं, रोटी, चावल, ब्रेड. नॉर्मली यही आदत है कि ये पहले जाएगी प्लेट में. एक चेंज आप करना ही ना, एज यू आर डूइंग दिस जर्नी, फर्स्ट थिंग, पहली चीज आप प्लेट में डालते हैं वेजिटेबल्स होगी, फिर उसके बाद आप प्रोटीन डालना. जो भी आप प्रोटीन खाओगे, दाल होगी, चिकन हो गया, फिश हो गया, प्रोटीन सेकंड प्लेट में डालना. थर्ड, फिर उसके बाद आप ग्रेन्स डाल देना, राइस, रोटी, ब्रेड, जो भी कुछ डालना है, फिर वो थर्ड आएगा. ये एक चेंज करना. और हमेशा जब आप खाना खा रहे हैं, eat until you are satisfied, don't overeat, eat mindfully. माइंडफुल ईटिंग का है कि अब जब खाना खा रहे हैं, टीवी ट्राई करना कि ना, टीवी ना नहीं ऑन है, और ट्राई करना कि आप इंजॉय कर रहे हैं खाना, टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, you are chewing your food well. Because often we end up overeating because we are eating mindlessly. We are doing other things and we're not focused and aware of what is going into our mouths. So we just want to slow down and begin to eat.
Great. So,
But
that
not
is also very
dieting,
important.
never dieting, never thinking I have to stop certain foods. You can still have gulab jamun, you can still have your pakoras, but don't just make gulab jamun the main part of the meal or your pakoras the main part of the meal. Eat a proper meal and then have your dessert. Or if you're starting with pakoras, don't eat so many pakoras that fill you up so you can't eat your main meal. So balance in everything is important over here.
Thank you so much, Sujata. आपने such a great tips दी हैं. I think जितनी भी tips आपने दी हैं, अगर हम उन्हें भी follow कर लें, these tips will do wonders for us. जो हमारी journey है, I think that this will help us to become the best us actually. Anyways, this journey will continue. So thank you so much for your time right now.
You're welcome, and I'm excited to see the results, Hina.
Me too. I'm so excited,